Discover your inner goddess and live up to your highest value and most abundant potential. Welcome to Grateful Goddesses, a podcast that empowers you to unleash your inner goddess and take the leap of faith to live your best life. Your guide, Karen Pulver, joins her fellow goddesses in soulful conversations about gratitude, personal growth, authentic living, and a bevy of topics affecting women today. Let's start the show with your host, Karen Pulver.
Debra Eckerling is the creator of the Deb Method system of goal setting simplified and author of the award-winning Your Goal Guide, a roadmap for setting, planning, and achieving your goals to get what you want. You need to know. A corporate consultant and workshop leader, Debra helps executives, entrepreneurs, and their teams identify their personal and professional goals, make new plans, and set themselves up for success. She's also the host of the Goal Chat Twitter chat and Goal Chat Live on Facebook and LinkedIn, and the Deb Show podcast. Welcome, everyone, to Grateful Goddesses. So what's on your list to do today? Well, I have a list. I have a lot of lists. I have my planner that is filled with lists. My monthly is completely scribble scrabble, but I know what it means. I have papers, I have sticky pads, I have all these goals and all of these things that I want to do that I look at every day. I even have a little sticky pad right next to my computer that is like my schedule every day. Like, this is what I do, this is what I do, just to make sure that I get it all in, personal as well as professional. But sometimes it can be overwhelming and I freeze. I literally become paralyzed, and it takes like that motivation to get going and that positive reinforcement and, you know, people to say you can do it, and for me inside to feel like I can as well. Now, what about if you don't know what it is that you want to do? What is your goal, but you really just don't know? And you're kind of like floating. You're just sort of by default doing all of these things to get to somewhere, but you don't really have a clear, laid out plan. Well, our guest today is going to help us not only get to fine-tune what is our goal, but to help us with talking about her special method as well as her amazing little tips and tricks that will help us to really walk that pathway to what it is that we want to do with success. Welcome, Deb Eckerling, to Grateful Goddesses.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm just, any day I get to talk about goals, well, that's pretty much every day, but it's a good day. So I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So I want to read a few quotes from some of your clients that you've had, some people that have read your books. I was just amazed when I looked through the reviews of your book, all of these amazing comments. So this one is from a client who has read your book. If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. As appealing as that may sound, it also means you won't get anywhere close to reaching your goals if you don't chart your own path. Right?
Yes, because to get what you want, you need to know what you want. And so many people skip that. I mean, your listeners, your viewers, they're probably in a different kind of category because they're tuned in, because they know that they have something special to offer the world. So they're a little bit atypical, but most people, they're just spinning. And I say, that's not okay.
Well, especially, I have young adults. My children are young adults. And I remember being that age as well and not quite knowing what I wanted to be when I grew up. And they're, fine-tuning their goals of what they want to do. And then I meet other women and men my age, and they're still trying to figure out what they want to be when they grow up. So how do you help them to start with trying to figure out what they want, to find out what is their goal?
Well, the first step really is to choose yourself. So many people, they overthink their goals, they underthink their goals. They say, oh, well, this is my education, so I have to continue this path, or this is what my family thinks I should do, which, a lot of that comes from a loving place. Right. By the same token, it's really, your life is kind of up to you. I mean, it isn't kind of up to you. It's up to you. Yes, there are other people to consider, but really the first step is that choice. Okay, I need to make a change. What does that mean? So the Deb method, my system, it's determine your mission, explore your options, brainstorm your path. And a lot of what I talk about is that D, determine your mission, because your goals can change, but your mission, your vision, who you are, what you stand for, that is who you are, pretty much. It's who you are, right? That's not going to change. So if you really hone in to what you love, what drives you, but most importantly, the ways in which what you do helps others.
Mm-hmm.
So how you help, whether it's to inform, educate, or through product or service or whatever. So it's the mission. Boy, did I jump like 5 steps ahead. It's the who you are and what you have that is unique to offer the world to help others so they can help others. Like I talk about with my goal setting, I believe everybody deserves to be happy in some, if not all, of their life. So if you can't change your day job, then find something on the side that you love, and that joy can leak in. But going back to actually answer your question, start with that. The first step is to visualize. When you think about the life you want, what does that look like? What do you have to offer the world? And again, the mechanics, the goals can change, but that vision of what you want, and that can alter, but we pretty much know. But you have to give yourself permission to know, you know?
Yeah. And I like what you said about, because some people might answer and say, well, I can't quit my job. I have to do this. This is providing, money for my family. But I like how you said, find what you love and maybe do it outside of your job. And it might actually turn into something for your job. Is that right?
Well, exactly. But, without the pressure. So,
right.
So in my book, I go through the 4 goal paths, and I'm very proud that I was able to put it into 4 buckets, because there's so many different life buckets. But
right.
It's a career job change, start or build a business, become a known expert, and work-life balance. And that work-life balance thing, especially with so many people working hybrid and remote, it's more important than ever, because if you don't, this is a whole different tangent, if you don't set
right.
boundaries,
right.
you don't have that balance. But whatever is your path, the thing on the side might just be family time or family projects, or maybe it's an Etsy store, or maybe you want to write a book. But when you give yourself the gift of time to figure out the things that really excite you, that you want, that bring you joy, that's also going to really help you. Because if you're doing something on the side, do it to enrich your life, not detract from it.
Yeah. We talk about ungrateful goddesses, and I talk about this a lot, the Wizard of Oz, and we're all on this journey of the yellow brick road. So this, of course, I honed in on this quote. This is from you, actually. We are all on a journey to get there, but we need to figure it out ourselves. So from another client, they said, Debra Eckerling's very practical book helps us do just that. It's like having a dear friend walk with you each step of the way, holding your hand, guiding you along your very own yellow brick road to the life of your dreams. And when I read that, I was like, yes, because that's what I talk about. My mission is to help people to see that we're all on this journey. We're all on this yellow brick road, but we have all these qualities inside of us. We just need help, from Glinda the Good Witch, from our munchkins, from our dog Toto, to help us. And as a coach myself, I know how important it is to not give your clients advice, or, you can offer suggestions if they're open to it, but you don't, it's burning inside of me sometimes to say, oh my gosh, you should do this, this, and this. Don't you see it? But it's not, you have to get it from inside of them. So how do you relate to this concept?
Well, I always say that my superpower is being able to really zero in on someone's mission and motto. So I talked about the mission statement, and beyond that, so we're all here on this mission, not just for our own life, but some of us, like you and me, are to help others have more enriched, fulfilled lives. When I work with clients, sometimes they'll get their work done and they will email me 2 minutes before our appointment. But having that deadline and knowing that there's someone there waiting for their assignment or whatever, just to be, okay, I did this, this, and this, we'll talk in a few. But literally I would get an email, and then a minute later the phone would ring and it was my client and their time to chat. So whatever it is that you need for that motivation to get the things done, you get the things done. And that's really what it's all about. And again, having that platform, that foundation for what you want is going to help enormously in whatever you build.
That is really the key, I think, like, just because if you don't know, and then you're just kind of flailing and trying little things, and or thinking, like you said earlier, you have to do this because society expects it or your family expects it, and you're like, but I don't know if I want that. So definitely you wouldn't be in the flow.
And exactly. And the other thing that's so good about the motto is, and it can be a personal motto. For me, I like the word harmony. That word speaks to me because it's the balance. You need to do the want tos and the have tos and the things you love. And of course, there's always things in there that you have to do, whether you like them or not. But it's finding that balance is really the key. But you need to know what that balance is, and you're never going to find that out unless you give yourself the gift of time to really explore the things that you love, both personally and professionally, and do more of what you love to lift yourself up, because that's going to help when you have to do the things that you don't love so much.
Exactly. I actually, on a personal note, when like I have to do the laundry, I set a timer for 20 minutes, and even just having that timer, and I like just crank it out. And then when the timer goes off, I stop. And if I'm finished, great. If I'm not, it's like, that's it. I'll do it again tomorrow. Just to kind of holding that accountability of the time. And it is just a personal thing, but that helps me too. So I can see how like the accountability, how they sign up with you and then they have to talk to you. And it's like, ooh, I'm going to get this done.
And as my practice has evolved over the years, really, I'm like the foundation. I am the first, I'm the first person, and I've had people do this too. They've come to me, I'm meeting with a coach specifically for the business I want to build, but I need to know what that is first. And those are the types of clients that I like working with. And that's why I like doing the workshops, because then I get to like help a lot of people at the same time with that foundation. Because once you have it, you can build it. And even now, so what I'm doing a lot of is corporate consulting. So going into companies to really, it's sort of like a well-being initiative. So I will find teams that are struggling and bring them through the DEB method, so their team leaders, their directors, their managers can get a sense of what it is they want, because so much has changed over the last year. And because of all the remote work, they're not necessarily going to know that the skills their team members acquired, and they can use it within their business. And maybe even the people on the teams don't really know. And that's something that I'm really good at pulling out of people, because it's all about finding that win-win situation, something that's going to, and for people, if you're working a job, you should love your job. It might not be your thing forever, but if you can enjoy your job and do the things that you love within your job,
then it won't feel like work.
It won't feel like work. And maybe it's not your forever thing, but it could be your for right now thing.
Yeah.
And as long as it's your for right now thing, give it your gusto, learn a lot, and it could grow into something even better for you. You don't know. But having that awareness of what you love and what you do well, and being able to bring that into whatever parts of your life are there, which are all of them,
right?
That's really going to help the wholeness of you.
Thank you for sharing that. And I do want to also share with you that, and our listeners, I was a guest on your Goal Chat Live, which was so much fun because we talked about fun.
We did. You were part of the fun conversation on fun.
So to people listening who really don't know what that means, Goal Chat Live, can you just explain what that is like, you know, how you developed that, what it's like, and then how that platform has helped you to reach others and help them achieve their goals?
I would absolutely love to. So I've already talked about my Facebook group, which I adore, and that was really my first social platform. And then several years ago, I decided I wanted to start a Twitter chat called Goal Chat. And I love that I can look back, and I had the profile name for Goal Chat for years before I even started it. And then the beginning of 2018, I'm like, okay, this is it. This is the year I start my Goal Chat. And that was also and I didn't even, so talk about like, and having a sense of things. That was also the year that I rebranded myself as the Deb Method, which is, if you think about universe and all the things coming together, that I just realized I didn't even tell that part of my story, but that's okay. I can back into it. So January 2018, I said, I'm just going to do office hours on Twitter. And that lasted 2 weeks because I had such good activity. I'm like, okay, I guess it's got to be an actual chat. So every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on Twitter, I host Goal Chat. And it starts out with, what was your biggest win last week? And we also added a sub question about how you did on your health, fitness, and well-being goals or something of that nature. And then we go into what are your goals for the week. And from there, we dive into the topic of the week. So once a month, it is what was your biggest win last month, and what are your personal and professional goals for the month. And the rest of the time, we dive into a specific topic. So you were a guest on the fun conversation because my August theme was fun. So every Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific, I do a live show that streams to Facebook and LinkedIn, where I bring in 3 guests usually from different parts of my life, to have a conversation on a topic. Now, on the rest of the week, so we also for August did work, fitness, food, and imagination. So that was the Twitter chat topic on Sunday night. And then on Monday, I brought in specific guests for that. Mm-hmm. And then a week later, my live shows become a podcast known as The Deb Show. So what I do is I merge 3 forms of online motivation. So we've got the Twitter chat, the video conversation, and then it goes into a podcast. And the way that it serves me is, and my goal is really to be the first person people think of when they hear the word goal. I believe that the way to do goals right is to figure out what you want, make a plan, and turn it into reality. A lot of people only think of the end result. A lot of coaches, a lot of experts in this realm only talk about the end result. Yes, I want you to have the end result, but I believe you're only going to have the end result if you start with the proper foundation. So in this mission to change goal culture, I want to be as many places as possible. So this has really been...
For us, exploring fun might inspire others to look at their lives and say, what's fun for me? What do I do in my life that's fun? Or what do I do in my life that's fitness related, or all the other areas? And that might be my foundation.
That's a really good way to put it. And that I didn't even think about it that way. But yes, the purpose of the conversations are to inspire and motivate people.
Right.
Because there's so many possibilities out there, and you can try a different fun thing every week, until you get to the thing you love, or make a list of 10 things that you think would be fun, or listen to the podcast, because at the end of every episode, I ask my guests to gift goals to the audience, to give them ideas of things to explore. Or you can put it wherever you want.
I know.
So I had been leading these goal groups, first in Chicago and then in LA. And then people said, Deb, you're good at this. Can I hire you? And Deb, you're good at this. Will you speak at my conference? So that's really how I developed from this fun side thing I did to incorporating it as part of my career. And then about 3 years ago, my main communications client was going away. And I took this as an omen to fully step into the thing that I was meant to do, which is to help people figure out the life they want so they can make a plan to turn it into reality. So I named my system the Deb Method, which determine your mission, explore your options, brainstorm your path. It's what I've been teaching and leading workshops on for years. And fortunately, it worked well with my name. So this was spring 2018. Started a new website, new socials, the whole everything. And I was going to self-publish my book on the Deb method. And I met an agent and he said, send me your book proposal. Let me get it out in the world. So the end of 2018, my publisher Mango showed interest and my book came out January 2020. So this book, which was designed to help people embrace change by choice or circumstance, came out about 6 weeks before the entire world had to embrace change by circumstance. So the purpose of what I do, my book, my workshops, my whatever, is just to tell people that you can have the life you want. Maybe it's part of your life, the thing that you love, maybe it's your whole career, but you really need to take those steps to figure out those things in order to turn it to reality. So that is what I do and how I got here.
My gift, I believe, was to trust yourself. And I was telling your viewers just to look inside and trust your intuition. So that I loved that, being able to gift to people what I thought helped me.
And that's really the thing. It's everybody's journey is different. Everybody's story is different. Everybody is going to find something different and unique to do, which is great, because that really means that everybody's going to come up with something different and unique and fun to offer the world.
Absolutely.
But it's really, everything I do is just about motivating people and spreading the word is that, yes, you can have a life that you love. Make the choice, do even little things.
Right.
It's going to make a tremendous difference. You could do big things, will make a big difference as well. The other thing I talk about a lot is I want people to look at when setting goals and figuring out the tasks and the benchmarks that need to be met to achieve them, to look at your life so you can set realistic goals.
Right.
And realistic expectations. Because if you're working a full-time job and you really want to write a nonfiction book to explore your expertise in a month, that's not going to happen if you're working like 60-hour weeks and you want family time.
And a lot of people take on those gigantic goals that they are like, oh, I just need to be motivated. But no, it's not realistic in your life of what you do every day.
Exactly. It's all about setting yourself up for success.
Okay, so now I'm going to turn the table to you. What are your goals? What are your future plans for yourself? And how do you plan on achieving them, as well as holding yourself accountable looking forward?
Wow, I am so happy you asked me that. So I mentioned before, one of my goals is to be the first person people think of when they hear the word goal. Most people in the goal space are men, which I think is not okay. So on the one side, it gets to be me, but on the other side, it has to be me. I think my system, the way that I work with people, the foundational approach, I really believe that this last year has either been really good for people, really bad, or somewhere in the middle. But by everybody having to hit the collective pause button, it really has been a gift to like step back and say, okay, look at my life. Do I like it? Great. Do I not like it? What do I need to do to incorporate it? So I spent last year telling people it's okay. This is a gift. Use the time to explore it. And fortunately, have this wonderful guidebook that can take people through the steps. So whereas I spent last year going yay raw, I recently, and I hate the word pivot, I realized that as hard of a time as people had hitting the pause button, it's been even more challenging for people to reintegrate into what I call the next normal, because our normals are changing every week, every month, right? So what I'm doing now is working with companies to help managers, executives, team leaders keep their employees engaged and productive by supporting their personal and professional goals. So I'm going into companies that are having these terrible employee retention problems and working with their teams to bring out what their teams want, whether it is they're looking for growth within the company, or they want more responsibility, or they learn things and they should be in a different department, or maybe they just discovered how much they like having the balance part of work-life balance, and saying these employees will stay with you, just don't bother them on the weekends and they will be loyal forever. So really to bring out what it is their employees need to keep them with the company, because happy employees are more productive, they're loyal, and they make the company money, which is what they want.
Up next, favorite things. Opening up to happiness and joy.
With our guest, Debra Eckerling, and she just talked about her book and your goal guide, as well as the Deb method. So it's in my brain right now, which we're going to now go around, though, and do our adult show and tell. Dina, what did you bring along today to share with us?
Well, I brought along this aromatic mist that I got to create myself, which came from my Loving Goddess group as a birthday gift, and I am loving it. It's a local store here in Chicago, and you go and you play with these oils and you pick out what smells delicious to you, and then you take it home and you enjoy it all throughout your home. So I love this. And Karen and my girls, thank you.
I'm so glad you love it, because Dina is the goddess of scents, and she always brings along scented candles often, and she was able to create her own scent, which I love.
Awesome.
And okay, so I did show this at the beginning. It is one of my favorite things, but Deb, I'm going to need help from you to fine tune this, because you can see if I drop it, it's like, oh no. And I did leave this once at a store. I was shopping and I left it on the counter, and I went home and I'm like, oh my God. And I ran back. Thank God it was still sitting there, because it's my life. I don't like using a phone for I don't like the little dots, and I don't know what they mean. So I like looking at the month at a glance, and then I like, my month though looks like a mess, but I understand it. And I like looking at my week, and then I add sticky pads. It just keeps me on track. So this is one of my favorite things, but again, I think we might need to talk, because I'm sure you have some suggestions about that. But it just makes me happy when I look at it every day. And so I've started to create a more spiritual type of list too, where instead of writing my to-do list, or what one of my guests, Taylor Morrison, actually said, is to write get to-do list, because we are also fortunate we get to do these things. And I write, work out, do the goddess work, blah, 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 blah. But I also am writing more spiritual things down there, like make sure to take 10 minutes to meditate, breathe, stop, rest, so that I remind myself of those things. So that's one of my favorite things. And Debra, what did you bring along?
Oh, can I comment on your favorite thing before I talk about my favorite thing?
Of course.
Well, this is great, because I don't have to say to-do list is my favorite thing, because you just did, and I get to cheat and add a different one. I love that you have that. I think notebooks or planners or whatever it is, physical pieces to organize your life, are absolutely perfect. The one thing that I would suggest or modify is to maybe have just one goddess notebook, and then one notebook for work, and then one notebook for personal, because I always have 3 of these going at one time. And one of them is for the passion projects I am currently working on, of which I just kind of mentioned. Another for my clients, and another which is just strictly my to-do list.
But I just have to jump in here. I need to know, what am I doing today for the goddess work? What am I doing for my coaching? What am I doing for my personal? If I have 3 different, it will conflict.
Oh, no, I'm saying keep the calendar of everything together, but I have like a separate notebook
Oh,
for
I
the
see.
work
Right.
for
I
each of the
understand.
different incarnations of you.
Yes.
I like my to-do list, which, like I said, is on here, but it's also, I keep one in my computer. So what I will do is I will brainstorm everything that needs to get done. Usually it's the beginning of the week. Usually it's right before my my goal chat Twitter chat, because I know that I'm going to have to tell people. And then I divide my list out by client, by category. So it's client, personal, book work, future work, media. So different things. And then I will type it into my computer, because that way my list is wherever I am. Granted, the story was a lot better 2 years ago when I actually left the house, and had meetings and places, whatever. But, it still works because I like having it in more than one place. And then I will use check marks on my to-do list, and I will write done in all caps on my electronics. And then I can copy and paste it into the following week, delete the dones, add new things, keep the ongoings. That other reason to do an electronic version is for the purpose of tracking. Because this way, when you're like, oh my goodness, it's taking forever, I cannot get my passion off the ground, what is wrong with me? You can look at your notebook or your calendar and be like, wait, I did this, this, and this. I'm doing pretty good.
True. That's true. Give yourself a gold star. Okay, show us your favorite thing. We can't wait to hear.
Well, my favorite thing is a journal. And whether it's an electronic journal or paper journal, I don't care. If you are having trouble figuring out the life you want or a project or your next step, a journal is the most powerful tool at your disposal. I have this technique I call directed journaling, and it's very simple. You schedule 3, 4, 5, 15-minute appointments with yourself. And during that time, I just want you to brainstorm or free write or whatever the answer to a question. I need to have more fun. What am I going to do for fun? I can do this, 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 and this. I want to write something, or I want to create a new project that expresses my expertise. Well, I could do a podcast. I could do a web show. Oh, I could write a book. I could start a course. So the idea is to do 3, 4, 5 of these sessions, and don't read them until after you've completed the exercise. And then you can go back and read through and find the common themes, because the things that you've written about 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 times
are going to have a common theme.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You might have thought that you wanted to do one thing, but you only wrote about it twice.
That's how
something else.
That's how I came up with the goddesses, actually, was through my journal, which is so funny you say that, because I kept looking. I looked back at a year of journaling, and it was I really enjoy helping people. I've learned all these things myself. I want to help others to tap in. And it was okay, how am I going to do that? So
see?
Yes.
So mine is turbo journaling for problem solving.
Right.
And but it really goes back to what I was talking about before. We can't figure everything out in our head. But when we write it down and take an objective look and see the common threads,
Absolutely.
It's much easier to tap in to the things that we love and make a plan to move forward.
And that is definitely what we all want in our life. So thank you again for joining us, for sharing all your tips. And I really hope people reach out to you. And I know they will, because they do want that gold star. And enjoy your day, everybody. And thank you for joining us on Grateful Goddesses, Deb.
Thank you.
Unleashed your inner goddess yet? Thanks for joining us today on Grateful Goddesses. We invite you to visit our website, www.gratefulgoddesses.com, to access today's show notes as well as other helpful resources. Don't forget to leave a review. Until next time, stay strong and empowered to be a grateful goddess.